Happy Sunday! Today we are talking about the last aspect of the fruit of the Spirit, of the Holy Spirit, which is self-control. So to get into that, I want to talk about two men who I think give us some good examples of God's self-control, of the essence of how God applies that to us, how it works in him, how it works in us. And then I want to take a look at a third man who I think really shows us both sides of that in the Bible and what his results are to that. So let's start with the opposite of self-control. So the opposite of self-control is giving in to every desire, every vice, letting your emotions lead your way. And to me, I would pop into Judges in our Bibles as we take a look at the example of Samson. Samson, who was given great strength, who would have power, who would have some authority over men, certainly with their lives, really could never find that balance in life of channeling God, right? Of really connecting with God in the place to understand that what God gives you is enough. He was constantly pursuing more love, more power, more authority. And ultimately, if you know the story of Samson, you know that what happened is the more that he tried to pursue the things that were not of God, even when he took the honey from the lion, gave it to his parents, dishonoring them, the more he found himself sliding away. And God never let Samson go. And in that, I think we see an aspect of God's self-control, of his love for Samson, and the way that he didn't just walk away, right? He gave instruction, he stood by, and even at the end of Samson's life, when Samson was really humbled, when he was chained up, his hair started to regrow, and he was able still to work on behalf of the Lord. Now, in contrast to that, as we look at another example of what self-control really is in that aspect of God, I see Daniel. So if we go to Daniel, we can go right to Daniel 1, and we can take a look as Daniel refuses the food at King Nebuchadnezzar's table. You know, he didn't do this to be a punk. He didn't do this to be rude. He did this because so often that food was used in pagan ceremonies, and he wanted to honor God. And as Daniel stood up against not only his direct supervisors, kind of, right, against his, not really against his friends, but with his friends, against the kingdom of Babylon, which was huge, and ultimately against King Nebuchadnezzar, it was going to be quite the battle. So God's self-control allows us to show many of the other aspects of the fruit of the Spirit. So Daniel was able to incorporate goodness and meekness and joy, and all of those helped him to represent God in a way that showed God's self-control in his actions for years. Even when we jump ahead to Daniel 6 and we're in the lion's den, that's a refusal because he would not dishonor God. So Daniel gives us a good example of what it is truly to show self-control in that aspect of the fruit of the Spirit. And now to the showstopper, right? Who do we see that has both of these sort of characteristics? So I turn to David's son Solomon, the wisest man, right? And I'm going to take us to Ecclesiastes. We're going to be in Ecclesiastes 1 through 11. And I want to read through here and let's think about Solomon and how he had everything. He had that Samson kind of life, pursuing power, every project rising into these great triumphs, right? And what did he find in the end of all of that? Well, let's take a look and read. The words of the preacher, the son of David, king in Jerusalem. Vanity of vanities, saith the preacher. Vanity of vanities, all is vanity. What profit a man of all his labor which he hath taken under the sun? One generation passeth away, and another generation cometh, but the earth abideth forever. The sun also ariseth, and the sun goeth down, and hasten to his place where he arose. The wind goeth toward the south, and turneth about unto the north. It whirleth about continually, and the wind returneth again according to his circuits. All rivers run into the sea, yet the sea is not full unto the place from whence the rivers come. thither they return again. So here we see that Solomon, the wisest man, who's learned a lot from his time with hedonism and then also with self-control, he's learning a little bit about what is it that is all this stuff that's under the sun, all these natural occurrences that God created still bow to God's whim. So what is the point in pursuing control, power, authority over any of these things? It's all vanity, is what he is saying. All things are full of labor, cannot utter it. The eye is not satisfied with seeing, nor the ear filled with hearing. We always want more. We want to see more. We want to hear more. It's never enough for us. And we think that's going to fulfill us, but it doesn't. Self-control tells us that that comes from the consistency in God. The thing that hath been, it is that which will be, and that which is done to that which shall be done, and there is no new thing under the sun. Is anything whereof it may be said, see, this is new? It hath been already of old time, which was before us. There is no remembrance of former things, neither shall there be any remembrance of things that are to come with those that shall come after. So really, in this beautiful poetic way, Solomon is telling us God is eternal. God is the consistency. And in our lives, we're going to have all these different things that are going to sway our temptations, our vices, who we are. And self-control from the fruit of the Spirit, from the Holy Spirit, from God, is how we're going to know what matters, what's important in life. We're going to return to that Daniel mindset. We're going to look to the moments in David's life from Solomon, right? We're going to look to like when Ezekiel needed that passion. We're going to look to when finally Jesus needed comfort. He turned to his Father too. It's all about self-control telling us what matters. And that is our final aspect of the fruit of the Spirit. All right, y'all. Have a great Sunday chatting at Cheesman. Bye.